One time for the jalapenos.
Welcome to Movie Night with the Boys.
Hi, welcome to Movie Night with the Boys. I'm John,
And I'm Zach.
and tonight we have a guest from the Dynamic Duel podcast executive producer crew. We got Dustin Balcom over here,
What's up?
and he's going to talk to us today, or with us today, about the brand new movie from 2022, The Atom Project, directed by Sean Levy.
So the Atom Project. After accidentally crashing in 2022, time-traveling fighter pilot Adam Reed teams up with his 12-year-old self for a mission to save the future. The movie starring Ryan Reynolds as Adam Reed, right? Everybody knows Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. Mark Ruffalo as Lewis Reed, the father, the Hulk, right? Next, we have Jennifer Gardner as Ellie Reed, who's the mother, and Jennifer, she was Elektra, right? She's in Juno. She's the mom adopting, the kid. The next we have Catherine Keener as Maya Soran. Is it Soran?
I think it was Soren.
Soran, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it was Soren.
Yeah, she's from 40-Year-Old Virgin, Into the Wild, and Get Out. Next is Zoe Saldana. I don't know how to say her last name.
I think it's Saladana.
Saladana? I don't know. It has a bunch of accents and stuff, so it's got something. So she's playing Laura Shane, and she's the wife of Ryan Reynolds' character. And I'm pretty sure most people know her as, Gamora. She's in Star Trek. She's from Drumline, The Losers, Death at a Funeral. She's in Avatar, right? And she's actually in 3 of the top, 5 highest grossing movies ever. Obviously being Avengers, Endgame, Infinity War, and Avatar, right?
Yep.
Next, we have Walker Scobell, and he plays 12-year-old Adam. And this is actually his first movie ever, right? So he's a fresh actor. And last, we have Alex Malari Jr. as Christos. And he was in RoboCop, Code 8, Dark Matter, Shadowhunters, and he is a fellow Canadian. So, yeah, with that being said, I believe it is story time.
It is story time. The movie opens in 2050 to a gunfight with adult Adam being chased through space. It's shown that he's been shot, and he's still being shot at by, it turns out to be Christos, and we assume Saurian. Well, I assume it's Saurian because of the voice, but I assume it's Christos because he seems to be the one shooting throughout the movie.
That's not true.
Yeah, there's a couple of instances of otherwise, but we'll get there. A woman comes on the comms and says he's gonna be shot down. They banter for a few moments until he jams the signal. He opens up a wormhole, and just as he's passing through it, his ship gets damaged, and he gets thrown into a spin, which sends him off course. And then we get the title card, The Atom Project. After the title card, we find young Adam being chased through a school by the bullies. Chuck and Ray. Ray is his bully. I really kind of dug him, actually. He knocks a couple of girls' books out of her hand. He picks them up and he starts to be flirty, but she shuts him down immediately. They catch up to him and bicker before Ray, the bully, punches him in the stomach. The dialogue there was immediately Ryan Reynolds. If you guys don't agree, I'd be extremely shocked.
I thought so, but at the same time, I was like, these jokes suck.
Well, that would be a 12-year-old version of Ryan Reynolds.
No, I just mean I don't know what it was. There's the whole beginning of the movie. I was just really bored. Up until Zoe showed up, I was really bored.
Really? All right, well, we'll carry on.
I get that.
Yeah, it wasn't as... okay, I know what you're saying. The Batman. And then it shows that we're in 2022, which we don't get any explanation as to why until a little while later. So he's at the principal's office, and his mom comes in, starts to defend him, and says his father's only been dead for a year. You can't really do this. Look at him. And as soon as they leave, his mom starts saying, "Hey, look, I know how big your mouth is. This is definitely on you. So you got to cut the shit." Um, but you could tell that he's still grieving his father, and he's acting out. And
Well, he's definitely a smart ass kid. But
oh, for sure.
one thing I want to point out, there was some foreshadowing right here as well, when his mom actually said, "The future is coming sooner than you think," right? And I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Oh,
yeah.
oh, that's ironic."
Mm. Hmm. I didn't even pick up on that as that kind of a line, but now that you say it, so they get to his house, and later on, you find that his mom's going on a date, or she eventually admits to it being a date, and she's leaving him alone in the house in the middle of the woods.
I mean, he's 12
Which
years old. I
I
mean,
know, but it
Yeah.
is a house in the middle of the woods. I don't know. It's proven
You've
to be
watched too many horror movies.
exactly.
We're,
Once
we're,
again,
we're,
John, you're getting your
we're fresh off of one.
yeah,
Um, so
you're getting your
she's.
genres mixed up, John.
I'm not calling this a horror movie. Relax. I thought this was closer to a comedy. Um, so she leaves after they go back and forth about how it is or isn't a date. And he's playing video games even though she said not to, and he's playing this like VR pilot game. And then all the power goes out, and the dog starts running off into the woods. And they get out there, and he looks up, and there's this big hole in the tree line where clearly something happened. And then they hear a couple of noises. They get spooked, so they run back to the house, and young Adam finds the door to the garage open. Turns on his flashlight. He looks around, and he somehow manages to pass Big Adam, at first instead of stopping on him. And he went like a good chunk of distance before he went back.
Well, that's one of those like, you're looking and then you like, wait a second,
Wait,
and then
what?
you go like, you know what I mean? Well, because think about it, you're also not expecting to see, you know what I mean, stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, so like you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna do this out of like, force of habit, and
Keep
then you're just
going.
like,
Oh, just a dude.
wait a second, right?
Just a
So
dude. Oh, wait, just a dude.
right, so I mean, I get
So
it.
yeah. Hawking and young Adam go to the garage, which turns out to be the father's garage. And he finds old Adam lying on the ground, bleeding pretty bad from his side. And they go back and forth, and he says something that made me laugh really funny. He goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Mostly bleeding." I thought that was really good. Um, so they go back and forth for a few minutes, and then older Adam says he needs to stay there. He needs to go get himself cleaned up. So he goes into the house, and he's looking for stuff to wipe himself down with. And young Adam follows him. He's like, "What are you doing in my house?" You just gotta go through my house of stranger. And old Adam's like, "I know this house," and then he shuts the fridge in a way that little Adam recognizes as familiar because it's the way to shut the fridge, which I didn't catch the first time I watched the movie as a thing until he said it. So they were having conversations in the kitchen, which devolved into them, or more so, young Adam realizing that they were the same person. They had a conversation that involved the scar on his chin and having 12 stitches and being an asthmatic, and it has something to do with him knowing all the timing of his asthma and how to handle it. But in that whole thing, there was one particular joke that stood out, and I think we're all in agreement on that joke, and that's, um, ugh, my wound farts when I cough. Ugh. And it farts, and then when young Adam brings up, "You were shot with a gun?" And he goes,
No.
"No."
Stabbed by a bullet,
Stabbed
moron.
by a bullet, moron.
I mean, you
Oh,
are
yeah.
you are technically talking to yourself, but I mean, like, this guy's an asshole to this kid. Like,
Yeah, he is. He's
He's a
such
jerk to
dick.
himself.
I'm my own worst bully. Goddamn.
right?
So after that, they make their way out to the ship back in the woods, where adult Adam can't. I'm going to keep calling him adult, but I should just start calling him Big Adam. I'm going to call him Big Adam from now on. Big Adam and Little Adam. So Big Adam can't access his ship because, according to him, ships are or not genetically engineered, but they're engineered to be
Genetically
biologically specific.
Yeah, they're genetically tagged to the driver.
Yes.
Pilot.
And for some reason, if you're injured, you can't enter your plane. I'm assuming it's a safety thing, but it
Yeah,
seems
no,
kind of silly.
that's what he said. He said he's too injured. The plane will not let him operate it.
But why don't you let him on?
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
silly. I mean, you should be able to at least get in there to protect. What if you're being attacked? The ship can protect you better than just lying there dying on the ground.
Hey, you gotta ask the future.
I guess so. So then he says, "All right, I guess we got to switch to Plan A," and he has Little Adam press the tag, and it works perfectly because they're the same person. So they use this little cool like surfboard platform thing to get up to the plane, and they have a little bit of back and forth. So the ship is revealed to need repairs. So Big Adam sets it up to make its own repairs, and he says that he hopes it'll heal faster or it'll repair itself faster than he heals. They make their way back to the garage where Big Adam stays, and Little Adam goes back to his house.
I mean, that wound is gonna take a while to repair itself. So I
Right?
mean, that ship has quite the time limit to fix itself when you think about it, right?
I was thinking about that. Like, what is the ship like Wolverine?
Not even. I mean, like, is he Wolverine? Because like that ship repaired itself really quick.
I don't know, man. I don't get that shit. Um,
Well, it was a self-repairing ship, right? So it'll
yeah.
self, but which doesn't make sense because he couldn't get into the ship to activate the self-repair because he was injured. So yeah, the DNA thing is kind of doesn't make sense.
Well, and
Flawed
on top of that,
logic.
why didn't he like start it before he left the ship in the first place?
Yeah.
That's true too, but I think that's also back linked to like remember he couldn't do anything. So maybe when he
Oh
was
yeah,
in
you
the
had to
ship,
have him touch it and stuff.
yeah, so maybe that's why. But I don't know. But yeah, so what happens next, John?
So when Little Adam's in the house, he's waiting for his mom to get back home. She says, "Oh, you're up late." He says, "Hello, mother." All weird. It's been a strange night for both of us, I guess. I was like, "What are you talking like that for, kid?"
Well, it's because Ryan Reynolds told him, be cool.
Yeah,
Like, don't
yeah,
be weird. And first, like, you tell a kid not to be weird, he's gonna be weird.
yeah. He's super fucking weird. So, Mullet Face comes in and knocks on the door. What did he say? A mullet mouth. That's he called him mullet mouth, but all about a goatee. That was ridiculous. Dude comes back, says she forgot her scarf, and he's just a dick to him. Just a total dick to that guy for no reason whatsoever, or again for the reason of what you said. He
What
doesn't
is
matter.
the what does the
I
mom
think it's
call what does the mom call him again? She's like, you're a real asshole or something?
I think she says you're a real jerk sometimes, but
Oh, okay.
it was still not nice. I mean, it was probably a justified name call. I mean, he was rotten. He's just a little shit.
I mean, he did have a mouth mullet, so
It's such a ridiculous name to call that, but I totally understand.
yeah. But it was pretty funny though, like too, like they were mentioned like the multiverse and stuff. There's a kind of a bit of the pop culture and like, they reference like a couple like, it's a Ryan Reynolds movie, right? So he's always,
Yeah,
like doing that kind of stuff. So
little shots to the things that are there, which we
yeah,
get another one of later in the little scene at the end with little homeboy,
that's
which I'll
probably
bring
my
up.
that's probably my favorite.
So the next morning, Mom and Little Adam have a little sad back and forth. She leaves, and then he goes and sees Big Adam. They go back and forth for a few, and then they go up, and Big Adam uses some of their dad's clothes because he needs to go and get his wounds taken care of. So he goes to the store using some of his dad's tightly fitting attire because he's so jacked. which he for some reason pointed out very creepily in the garage. By the way, he was like, "I'm so ripped." He says, "You always skip leg day in the future." What a I don't know what the dick he is.
Yeah, kid is a little smart ass. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
he's
what
like
to say.
Ryan Reynolds at 12. It's perfect. I love the kid. He's fantastic. So they go and get the stuff for Adam to clean up his wound, Big Adam. And Ray and Chuck, the bullies, find little Adam outside while Big Adam is inside doing his shopping. And they're about to kick the shit out of him, and Big Adam comes around the corner and he goes, "Oh, these two what is it? Something turders or turd burpers or something like that." He calls them some gross name, and it's funny. I find it pretty entertaining. And then he tries to convince little Adam to square up and just fight Ray, like just look him in the eyes, act tough, and then drop down him and punch him in his man shit.
What did he say? Like to let's blow this
Let's
banana.
smoke this banana.
Yeah, smoke this
Yeah.
banana. He's like, I'm gonna smoke your banana. Like what? Wait, what?
What are you
Wait,
saying?
what?
This is not what we talked about.
You have to say pause, my guy.
But he immediately gets his ass kicked after he squares up. He looks all bummed out when he looks up at Big Adam. He runs away, all sad, you know. And then, then fucking Big Adam grabs this dude by his collar, puts him up against the wall. I loved this shit. This was so great. And he goes, "If you ever look at him again, I will take your bones out. I will sharpen them." It was so aggressive. Like, he just was talking about basically killing this fucking 12-year-old kid. Oh, man, I damn near died. Ugh. And then,
Poor Chuck.
Yeah.
Poor Chuck.
What did I do? Shut up, Chuck.
Tucker, you're going to have this kid skate in your mouth. Like, what the fuck, man? That poor kid, he's just there, guilty by association. Fuck Chuck. Oh, man.
No, he said he'd
So-
use the bones to stab Chucky. That's what he said.
That's right. Yeah, what did I do? Oh, and then he said something about stuffing Ray's feet in his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. I can't. I gotta tell you, Ryan Reynolds and the shit that he says.
Oh, and
I
the
don't
kid
care.
pissed himself. We can't forget
Yep.
about that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right. He did piss himself. I was overshadowed by the sharpening of the bones. So after he threatens the little kid's life, he fucking goes back to the house and finds young Alan locked in the garage, looking through his stuff. He finds a picture of Laura after a few seconds and says he'll unlock the door after he tells him who Laura is. Laura's used to be their wife. You know, that's that. He looks all sad, bummed out, blah blah blah. Then it goes to a bar where Adam's mom walks in and she's having a drink, and then you spot Big Adam at the other end of the bar. They have a little heart-to-heart back and forth about loss and grieving and love and how she needs to be able to grieve freely. It's a nice little scene, but it's it's there.
And
The next scene,
he tells her that he has the best mom and like all that kind of
he
stuff.
totally says all the things he wishes he could have said when he was younger, or he should have said when he was younger, for sure, for absolute certain.
Well, he is a little shit right now, so I mean,
Fuck, I want to smack him in his mouth so bad, so many times. But I love it because it's so on the nose, perfect. So then we get a ship floating over, I think, a lake or something, and it turns out to be Saurian and Christos. And they say they need to find Adam and get him and take him back. And then they have this like drone military thing. I know they're not drones because they're obviously people, but they're so in sync that they kind of reminded me of drones. They were
They're-
almost like the
there's stormtroopers.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
the stormtroopers from The Mandalorian. Spoiler alert. The stormtroopers from The Mandalorian, the ones that the mech troopers, the ones that Homeboy fought in the last episode of season 2.
Well, not really. They're
Well, no, those ones were actual mechs. I'm saying these ones are real people, but it kind of gave me that same vibe.
clone troopers.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
The The clones were like that
Yeah.
at first, and then they started developing their own kind of personalities later on. But for the most part, they were essentially like that.
Okay. Yeah. I see. That's it's a memory that I've kind of forgotten because I haven't really seen the second trilogy in quite a while, and I think that was really mostly that one. And I never watched the Clone Wars show, so I didn't really get that much of a relationship with that whole thing.
Makes
Oh,
sense because I don't think any of them landed a shot that whole fight scene.
right? Ridiculous.
They all just exploded into death.
They were all programmed with bad aim.
So after the lady Saurian says that they need to find Adam, and she dispatches her military drone people. The Adams are talking about Laura over breakfast, and they eat exactly the same, which was really interesting to me because you think that in what is it, like 38 years or 28 years, whatever it's been, you would change how you eat just a little bit. I don't know.
I
When I
mean,
was 12, I was a slob.
habits are habits, though. Like,
Yeah, I guess. So he explained why he was going back to 2018, and then he also explained that his dad is kind of the creator of time travel. Then all of a sudden,
he is
Adam
father time.
realizes he is father time, Godfather time, as he later describes himself. Um, then Adam
Godfather
somehow,
of time, he called himself.
whatever, motherfucker. um,
Godfather of time.
yeah, I remember
Makes-
him saying it. It was later.
Yeah.
I like that better than Father Time.
Yeah, but you said Godfather time. That sounds stupid.
Whatever. Um, so Big Adam is like aware of the fact that they're about to get attacked, like he's got hypersenses or something. So he's like,
His Daredevil sense or his Deadpool sense was tingling.
I guess we'll go with that because there's no other good reason why he was like Wolverine smelling the air and said, "We're about to be fucked up. We gotta go." So he accurately predicts where they're gonna come through the front door, throws a pulse grenade at them, and then they bust out another dude through the back window, and they run out, and Ryan Reynolds just kicks ass across the whole board of these guys like they're not even fucking any kind of anything. They're just another set of douchebags, and he's like, "I'm still Deadpool, motherfucker." Um, so as they're about to start running through the woods, Storian shows up in her big old ship, and she's getting ready to basically kill the kid from the sounds of it, and then Christos is right before that. Christos is like, I want to fight this dude. I want to kick this dude's ass, and they get in each other's face, and he makes him put down his lightsaber. And they get
It's
to a little bit
not
of
a lightsaber, dude.
it's whatever, man. It's a lightsaber.
No, I'm just
Um,
repeating what Ryan
I
Reynolds
know,
kept
I
saying.
know, I know, I know. I
That
still
shit
don't
was
agree.
totally a fucking
It
lightsaber.
was 100% a lightsaber. There's no doubt in my fucking mind it was a lightsaber. So Christos and Big Adam start fighting, and Big Adam's all like ready for it, and Christos is like, "I've been waiting a long time for this. I want to fuck you up." Blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Laura shoots the big plane from fucking the woods and just comes in like a total badass, like you guys just said, and fucks up everybody. And
I mean,
so,
that was a team effort. She really didn't like. He was cutting
I mean,
people up
yeah,
with that lightsaber,
they
doing
were
some
both doing their
doing
thing,
some cool ass vaulting and shit. Like,
shooting people in the face with guns.
yeah, man, that stick or that not lightsaber is quite badass. I want one of those.
That electronically powered plasma inducing baton
Yes, yes, that could cut through trees and bodies.
and explode. Well, I guess the
And
explode
super
thing
jump.
is yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and super jump. Things like a fucking multi tool for Mario.
and a shield. It was a shield as well.
It was a
Yep.
shield, but that thing was excellent. We need one. Let's have one. We gotta commission Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, get that done right, or Elon Musk maybe.
Elon
Joe,
Musk.
The
I don't
fuck
think
do you
Joe
mean
Rogan
Joe
can do
Rogan?
anything.
Joe
Fuck.
He
Rogan
just
can
talks.
get it done. No, he
Yeah.
can get it done. He knows the people that can make it happen. Is what I'm saying. So they defend themselves accurately and or aggressively, and they get Saurian's ship to run off. He decides to go cloak and run off, and then they run off to a Bronco or some kind of a big Suburban or something. And they start driving away in the most brightest, bluest truck I've ever seen in a getaway ever, besides O.J. Simpson. And Saurian's making chase, and then she sends out these drone dudes on Silver Surfer like surfboard things, or maybe they were just flying. I don't know. I thought they were on something.
I was thinking they're like Johnny Quest boards.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
on something. They were flying
They're
around.
like little hoverboards.
Yeah. So they finally get to Laura's house, and they discuss how Saurian changed the future by going back to 2018, and how it must have been that way because there's a log of someone leaving but not going there. I think was what had happened.
You know what this movie was? This was Hal Jordan if he'd never got the Green Lantern ring.
Yeah.
Very, very true. I got some stealth vibes a couple of times. Have you ever seen
Yeah.
that movie?
Yeah.
Can't say that I have. Not off the top of my head.
2005. 2005 movie. Fighter jets flying AI fighter jet crap.
Okay. No. I don't know.
No.
No, not ringing a bell. If I see it, then maybe, but I don't know. I'm bad with that kind of stuff.
Names and stuff like that, forget about it. He has to see the movie.
I have to see the face.
Yeah.
a
Or an
scene-
image from the
a
movie or
a
something.
scene from the movie, yeah.
Yeah. So after a little while and a pretty obvious lead into a off-screen sex, Laura tells Adam that he has to go back to 2018 and completely stop time travel from being created. He gets all bummed about it, but he knows that he has to do. A couple seconds later, as if by clockwork, Saurian's people start to arrive in her area. She's got these like warnings. She's got like ground sensors or something, I guess. And she's alerted that they're coming, and she makes them leave. He gets all bummed out and doesn't want to leave, but again, the mission that apparently he's always known about.
Well,
Because
it's the fact of she can't come with him in the plane. The plane will
because
not
it's not
fly.
him. Yeah.
The plane will not fly with
Other people.
With other people, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense because, the other two are flying in a plane that has multiple people.
Plot. It's about the plot.
I guess. But so go on.
So they leave, they go to the ship. It comes kind of like back and forth. You get Laura blowing up Christos's SUV as he's driving. He manages. What's the one? Wait, was it his or was it the one in front of him?
That was his.
It was his.
There's
Okay.
only one. There was only one.
Okay. Yeah. There's later on. There's two. It gets blown up. He gets out, or he lives through it, and then Saurian shows up and aims the biggest fucking gun in the world at her. And she's just like, all right, I guess I'm fucked. It gets back to the Adams there in the ship, and they're getting ready to take off. They take off. You see them take off in the background as it goes back to Laura, and then Saurian's a bitch and blows her up. I mean, it doesn't show her obviously, but it's pretty obvious. So she gets blasted away. Does a cool ship chase through the canyon, and he does this cool little like stealthy thing where he goes up, turns off the plane, drops it on the bottom of the canyon, and then guns it back on, backs himself up to a little hole. It was pretty cool. I like that shit. That was
He pulled a Hal Jordan.
Yeah, it was like legit, like straight out of the Green Lantern. And then they fly up. They managed to get to 2018, narrowly avoiding a head-on collision with Saurian and Christos.
I mean, that scene was hilarious. Like, he's like, okay, hold on. And the kid's like, what? And then like takes off, and then the kid starts like grabbing on his face, and he's like floating, like holding on to Ryan Reynolds' face, and and you just see Ryan Reynolds just kind of grab him and kind of just like move him to the side and like put him down. That's just fucking hilarious.
You get in a plane and the first thing you do is not to buckle in.
Well, I mean, there's only one seat, so there was only one
I
seatbelt.
mean, he told him to grab something or
He
something.
said
I mean,
hold
there's a
on,
reason.
but I mean, the kid's like not expecting it to take off like that,
I suppose that's a fair thing. Does
right?
need to go 88 miles per hour. Third time.
Right? That kid probably hasn't even been on a plane.
And he says something about holding on. Was it this part where he says something about the G's and he goes, "Oh, G,
Yep.
what's a G?"
Yeah, exactly. Right. The other thing I want to point out here is his ship is slow as fuck. Like, I mean, that plane sat there, killed his wife, then picked up Christos. Then they switched seats, right? Now Christos is piloting that thing, and then they caught up to them, right? Then they blew past them, and then they flew up and started going, and then the ship fucking caught up to them again. Like, how slow was Ryan Reynolds' ship? And there was no weapons.
Maybe it was still healing.
Well, I think that I think they were going at each other when he went through the wormhole. If I'm remembering correctly.
Well, he flew up. So to be honest, you don't know if he like was underneath and flew up and turned around like type thing. I don't fucking know. But whatever the case may be, they caught up to them. Like,
Yeah, they did.
Besides the point, that made no sense.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So after that, they get to the dad's classroom. He's a physics teacher, it looks like. And after a little bit, they talk. Lewis's dad says something about like a quote, something about time is later than you think.
He made the quote about the Greeks or something like back in those days.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Reynolds was like, "Well, that's not true. What about this
It was
dude or a band?"
From a band back in 1949, and somehow that was enough for Lewis to figure out that that was his son, 40 years or 30 years older, which I don't understand at all. But he's smart enough, so I guess that's why he was able to figure out that was his son.
I mean, he is working on time travel, so I probably put two and two together.
Yeah,
and the jacket. He's wearing his jacket.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, I suppose that could be another giveaway for him. But he's like, "You're Adam, and this is time travel." So they're walking and talking, and Lewis points out that Big Adam is wearing his jacket, and the jacket's very tight because Adam is very much bigger than Lewis, and he says that Adam looks like a condom with buttons. I mean,
I don't know why he had the jacket done up. Like every other time you see him wearing the jacket, the buttons aren't done up. So it's like, why did he just decide to squeeze himself and
he wanted a hug from his dad's jacket.
I guess.
More than just a regular hug. So it gets a little bit heated. Adam tries to get Lewis to stop talking. He doesn't listen, so he punches him in the mouth. Lewis somehow manages to just shake it off, and then a couple seconds later, Superman punches him in the mouth. He just jumps up.
That was not a Superman punch. I don't know what I don't know what that was, man, but that was the nerdiest punch I've ever seen in my life. And he's like, "Oh, I think I broke my hand."
It was so good. Definitely not my Hulk. They go back and forth for a few more seconds, and then they end up in a motel, which was really random and kind of weird. But I guess that's where Ryan Reynolds would have to stay if he wanted to not have to keep living in his dad's garage. Lewis says he can't help them stop time travel because it's just not how it works. And then he leaves.
He was the guy was an asshole. Like the dad, like he was like, "I can't be here with you." Like, and you could see the kid was upset. And then the guy said, like, "As soon as I seen you guys, I realized, I die." Right. But it was like, so then why wouldn't you spend time with the kid? Right. Like, I thought that was kind of assholey, to be honest.
I think he was saying that. I think he was just saying that he immediately realized it because that brings you basically to the next scene after, but I'll get there in a moment. He says he can't help him, and he leaves after Big Adam leaves. Then we get younger Saurian approached by older Saurian. They go back and forth, and the older Saurian tells the younger Saurian about Adam and basically wanting to stop time travel from existing. The Adams talk about Lewis and why Big Adam actually hates him, and Little Adam is ridiculously accurate. I thought he was pretty good at picking Big Adam apart there.
Well, not
He
only is that kid a smart ass, he is just a smart
smart.
ass, smart in person. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
smart
like
ass kid.
really, really smart ass kid. Like he, it is interesting to see like them go back and forth and be like, "How did you end up so smart? How did you end up so dumb?" That the whole dynamic between them
Yeah,
was really the
the
chemistry
whole.
they had.
Oh, I traded in my brains for the muscles,
Yeah,
and he's like, "That's a shit deal."
yeah, yeah. So we see the 2018 Reed family together. Lewis and Ellie are having a conversation, and then Ellie leaves. I didn't really take any notes on the conversation. It was kind of a he doesn't know. He doesn't really know if he made right decisions, and he wants to do the right decisions, and blah blah blah. So the Adams go to Saurian Technologies, and then they split up, and all of a sudden Big Adam's like, "There's nobody here. This is weird." She must have told older Saurian must have told younger Saurian about she must have been warned or something. And then he gets surrounded by like the drone military dudes. Um, and then
You gotta point out too, though, that the kid is piloting that drone.
I was just about to say that, like,
Okay.
and meanwhile he's getting surrounded. Little Adam's piloting like a VR style drone, and he's Big Adam's like, all right, anytime now. Little Adam citing the exact same line that was fed to him by Big Adam as the bullies were about to get into a fight with him. Make sure you look him in the eyes, then drop real low and punch. He was such a prick about it, but I loved it so much. And then he drops a pulse that somehow doesn't affect anybody. I mean, that doesn't affect Big Adam, but it affects everybody else.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
weird.
I don't understand how that whole weapon works. Maybe it's also genetically related to the person.
No, because earlier in the movie he said, "Don't touch that, and that'll kill us both." He's pulse resistant.
Yeah. Um, so then two SUVs start making their way at them. Little Adam's able to blast one of the SUVs away with the pulse from the drone, but the second one, it's about to hit Big Adam, and then out of nowhere comes Rescue Subaru. Um, he just fucking T-bones the other SUV and a dude straight. He just fucking annihilated the guy, and then blew the other SUV right away with that fucking little Subaru. And it's like, you were this close. You could have hit me.
Well, before the dad got out of the car, when he opened the door, he smoked Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds like went flying. I thought that was hilarious.
And then he's like, I don't know, he said something about not wanting to damage his mother's car, and then he's like,
You shaved my ass with that car.
and then he points out the whole front being totaled.
Oh man.
They're back and forth for something else. I love those two together. I hope they do something else together because they do have a lot of good chemistry. Actually, all three of them had good chemistry in my mind. Um, so Big Adam and Lewis start making their way towards the magnetic. It's called the magnetic accelerator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The magnetic accelerator, and Big Adam's like, "Oh, I'm gonna blow it up, and I'm gonna destroy it, and I'm gonna have fun doing it, and I'm gonna enjoy it." So Lewis explains that they can't just destroy the machine because Saurian will rebuild it. That they need to get rid of Ispica. I think that's how he said it, but I don't. It sounds really weird coming out of my mouth. But it stands for the infinitely shifting plasma containing algorithm, which is what basically stabilizes the wormholes that the magnetic.
So basically, what you're trying to say is it is the mathematical equation that allows for time travel. That's it.
Yes. Which it stabilizes the wormholes to allow for that to happen. So sorry, not the Adams. Big Adam and Lewis make their way to the basement, and then the ship that Saurian's been in shows up behind Little Adam as he's dicking around in the drone. He doesn't notice it, and I'm assuming he just immediately gets captured without any kind of a fight. Um, Adam and Lewis get down to the nerve center of the magnetic accelerator, and they pull out the hard drive. And again, like clockwork, the Saurians walk through the door and say that they need to give back the hard drive. After a little bit of a no from Big Adam, they pull out Little Adam, and then older Saurian puts a gun to his head, which was really fucked up in my mind as well. But plot. Sorry. Oh yeah. So after she puts the gun to his head, a couple seconds later, he slaps the gun. Brave as shit for a 12-year-old kid. I sure wouldn't have done that shit. And the gun shoots and hits the containment glass where the magnet is somehow contained, which I don't know how that's even possible, but whatever. And then all the metal shit in the room starts flying towards the glass. It leads to a nice little fight between.
Wait, what do you don't get?
How the magnet's contained by glass.
Oh, okay, yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's
It's not metal.
Yeah. I guess whatever. But whatever. So,
well, no, it's a black hole essentially, isn't it?
I don't know.
So maybe
Yeah, it's like a word. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a
I guess.
wormhole, right?
Yeah.
So that glass, so with it being breached, that would just, as it does, suck everything in,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
But
it sucks metal stuff.
well, yeah. So it has like a magnetic charge.
Yeah, it's a magnetic pull.
Yeah.
All the metal shit starts flying. It causes a nice little fight scene. It leads to the final fight between Big Adam and Christos, which I'm sure you really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, definitely, bro. Those fucking nunchucks, and then like he used it for like 2 seconds, and then all of a sudden Adam slides by and then takes them, and I was like, oh, that was fucking badass, and then all of a sudden it just gets knocked out of his hand. No more fucking nunchucks. Are you kidding me?
What kind of a fight is this going to be now? Fisticuffs?
Right? I challenge you to a duel, sir.
Slap, you fuck. What's Lewis trying to do there? Is he trying to like override the system?
Yeah, he's just doing computery stuff.
He's off doing computer stuff. Okay.
Just
I think trying to shut it down or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he was just doing stuff on a computer, being a computer nerd.
Stuff that I
What's
do
wrong
in
with computer
my
nerds?
job.
Nothing's wrong with computer nerds. They're the best. I'll fight anyone who's got an argument against it. The magnet is making the metal fly all over the place, and a fight's going on between Christos and Big Adam. Big Adam's lightsaber, it's a lightsaber, gets knocked out of his hands. He's also got those two nunchucks that get knocked out of his hands. They're starting to fight, and then
it's not a lightsaber. The whole part with the kid is the most badass thing. He gets caught by that dude, stuck to the glass. Then he figures, oh, my glove is fucking magnetically, like, it's being pulled. So he fucking super punches that dude in the fucking face. Then uses the other glove to one-handedly slide down the fucking glass. Hits the floor, then gets the lightsaber, then does all the cool badass shit, bounces up, and then gets fucking dropped with one slap. So Ryan Reynolds sees little Adam get fucking slapped, and then they start fighting again.
He goes full on Vegeta though.
Well, they start fighting, and then Christos gets the advantage, and then while on top of Adam, Big Adam.
Yeah. He's about to take another swing at him and punch him in the face, and then he's choking him. And then the door starts to rip off the hinges from the middle. And Big Adam pushes him up, and the door flies up, and they both hit the glass really hard. And all the suction happens. It's like a wormhole's opened up right there. And then
Oh, he didn't just hit that glass, man.
Oh,
He got sucked right into that fucking into that hole, like wormhole or whatever.
he
Like
got
that
inside
guy
out.
that guy is super dead. Like we will not see him in Adam Project 2. Tell you that right now.
Well, you might see his insides. Maybe he'll be like a bug or an exoskeleton somewhere.
I mean, technically he didn't die because the whole timeline got reset, so he does exist somewhere. So
No, he was outside of his timeline, so things are different if you're not in your timeline when you die. Maybe that means you don't get anything back.
no, the whole timeline has changed from 2018. Therefore, he was never
Oh
in
yeah,
the
he might
academy.
not even be
Therefore,
alive.
he would have never been there.
Yeah, who knows? No one ever says his age either. So, oh, but he was in academy with them. So yeah, okay. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt that he's potentially comes back for a new life. I guess.
I mean, everybody else's life changed, so why wouldn't his?
I don't know if it really changed though, did it?
The
Yeah,
life's
because he was
alive.
and
Well,
she
now, yeah, but
and she met and they met in the academy. Now in this new timeline, they met at university.
was he? Did they call it university?
Yeah,
University,
they're at a
college,
college class.
whatever it was.
I mean, I thought it was well. Either way, um, so that happens with the door. The dude is no longer for sure. And as they're all trying to escape, they're trying to run away, and the Saurians show up, and one of them's got this big ass assault rifle, and she's getting ready to shoot. And then the younger Saurian's like, "No, we're not doing this. You're not going to shoot him. We're not shooting." I think she said something like, "Not shooting kids." So she gets out of the way. She's off to one side. The older Saurian is going to shoot and isn't thinking as Lewis and the two Adams are standing there getting ready to get shot at, and she shoots this armor piercing bullet, and shooting an armor piercing bullet with metal in it in a fully magnetized room. Brilliant idea. So she shoots the bullet. The bullet immediately turns and kills younger her. Shoots her in the chest.
I got a science question for you.
What's up?
How did the bullet stay in the gun and not pull the gun out of their hands?
Plot.
Plot.
Okay, okay. Unless there was just not enough metal in the bullets to be like to have enough of a magnetic pull that they wouldn't pull the gun. So I think that might be the logic they were going for.
So the armor bullet it deters from its immediate target, which was intended to be Lewis, and it kills young Saurian, and she is deleted from life from there on.
Well, that's where we find out that if you die,
As a young person,
your younger self dies, your older self disappears, which I thought was kind of weird. And why the fuck would this guy drag his younger self along everywhere he goes? Which is, you know what I mean? It's just like in Dragon Ball, where it's like Beerus is connected to the Supreme Kai, and the Supreme Kai is this weak ass dude. So if you kill the Supreme Kai, Beerus dies. So if you're trying to take over the universe, all you got to do is kill weak ass Supreme Kai, and there goes your biggest threat,
yeah. Yeah.
right? Doesn't make any sense. So hence why Beerus doesn't bring the Supreme Kai anywhere.
Can't
It's
risk
just
that. Can't risk it.
exactly. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, that being said, the Reeds escape just in time, ironically, just in time, and successfully stop the creation of time travel. They go back to their house from that timeline. Um, they talk for a bit about Lewis not being there, but still loving them and being proud of them both. And little Adam asks if he doesn't know if he can do it. He doesn't know if he's going to be strong enough. And then Lewis points out how successfully Big Adam's lived his life. It seems. Um, and then, so what do we do from here? And Lewis suggests playing catch with his boys, which was really cool. And then they go back to their own timelines. So it's the scene transitions to 2022, where Adam is reliving the scene from earlier in the movie where he was being a dick to his mom while she was taking care of tax work and saying it was her father. I mean, we didn't really go over the details of the scene, but it was before everything changed. Now this time he's more affectionate to her. He tells her that he's going to be late for school. And then he stops and I feel like he just got that feeling from Big Adam that he needed to go back and give the hug.
I think
So he's
I think he kind of remembered it because they said something along the lines of your memories, like,
they reconcile.
yeah. So then he would have remembered that. So that was kind of him walking away and be like, oh yeah, big me said I should show my mom this kind of love.
But
And so it kind of, it was like he kind of remembered it and then went back
Yeah.
I
and did
think
it.
it's more of an echo because the whole concept of time travel not having been created should also reconcile any of the actual activity of time traveling itself, unless they
Okay.
existed prior to the time travel. So if like eight
Yeah,
year old Adam,
but Ryan Reynolds made a quite a creepy line when he said, "Oh, I found you." Right? So he, you know what I mean? It's kind of up in
I
the
mean,
air,
she
but
said she
I
was
get,
lost. Said she was lost.
I mean, I
Not
don't
anymore. I
know.
found you. I mean, I know what you're saying. So that whole hug, and then that happens, and then we get to the school scene where he's sitting and she walks in, and she is. It's basically a shot for shot retelling of how they met before, except obviously it's not the same exact type of academy. Um, she's lost. He found her, as you just said. He can pretend to be asleep. The whole snoring with his eyes open shit, that was
I'm
pretty
not.
funny.
I'm not gonna lie. I laughed at that. I thought that was stupid.
It was really stupid, but it was pretty funny. Um, and then they leave, and I don't know if either of you guys noticed this. Right as the movie ended, that hallway they were looking like they were walking down, it looked with minor changes. It looked like the hallway from the Flash TV show. But that's the end of the movie. It's my movie, and we're gonna have to start with the good, the bad, and the meh. Um, but I'm not gonna start. I'm gonna start with our guest. I think Dustin, you're gonna tell us what you thought was good first.
Oh, okay.
On the spot.
On the spot. So good for me was I thought the comedy throughout it was pretty decent. Um, but that's also my meh. Was some of the jokes were really corny as well. So it's like there's good comedy and there's also meh comedy.
That's fair. That's
And
fair.
the same thing with the special effects. I thought there were some really cool special effects, and then other times where I felt like I was watching the Sci-Fi Channel made for TV movie.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like when they showed uh, the two Sorora or whatever her name was.
Orients.
Um,
Uh
that looked outright terrible. Like
oh yeah,
I was like, they figured it out with the Mandalorian. Yet we come to this movie and it looks so fucking bad.
yeah. And I thought the same thing when it was old Adam and young Adam, and they were floating up to the ship that first time. I was like, I'm watching Sci-Fi Channel right here.
Okay, yeah. Now,
So,
now that you say that, I'm like,
all
yeah,
right.
that did look pretty stupid.
Yeah. So like my good and my meh were the same pretty
Okay,
much.
that's
And
fair.
then my
Okay.
bad, my bad was I just felt like the villains were kind of bland. I didn't care for that Saurian chick really the whole time. I guess the Christos wasn't too bad, but the Saurian I didn't even care for her.
Yeah, she was pretty lame.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Not gonna lie.
That's fair. All right. Well, my good was the acting. I thought the acting was really on point. I really especially liked the kid. Like his being able to be Ryan Reynolds is fairly incomparable to me. I mean, like you would almost assume that he was either like a biological relative or someone that spent most of his life just idolizing and worshiping in Ryan Reynolds. I'm sure you guys have seen the TikTok or whatever it was where the kid basically word for word redoes the Deadpool scene, and he's fantastic with it.
No, I haven't.
No, the kid
Haven't seen it.
recites the whole opening scene from Deadpool 2, and it is goddamn very impressive. Very
I did
impressive.
think this kid did really good. If this was his debut movie, like he did
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially for not being in anything else. Legitimate debut movie. He has another movie coming out later this year, but I mean, like this is his first acting credit, and
And
yeah,
you have to
he
do
did
it
a good
next to
job.
Ryan Reynolds. Like that's the first person you have to guest star alongside. Like,
Good
I
for
don't know.
you for doing so well.
Yeah,
It's a tall order.
Yeah, 100%. But he
I
nailed it.
definitely give him that. Yeah, for sure. for sure.
What
All
about you,
right.
Zach? What was your good?
So my good was actually like the happy ending. I actually really enjoyed the new timeline and stuff. It kind of, put a smile on my face. So like that whole little ending scene, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know why. Maybe it's now being a father, now I get more sentimental and whatnot. But I really like the end part of it, and I thought it was pretty like nice and cool how like he meets back up with Zoe at the end of the movie. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah, that's agreeable.
right. So what about your meh, John?
My meh was the misuse and or underuse of Jennifer Garner. As good of an actor as she is, and as big of a name as she had like less than 5 minutes of credible scene.
Yeah, but it wasn't really about her.
I
Yeah.
know, but the point is, why get? I mean, yes, the acting was great that she provided, but why would you go so far as to reach out for someone as big as Jennifer Garner to give her such a small amount of screen time
To
when you could
guarantee
probably
to
get?
guarantee that you get a good scene out of it.
I guess. I mean, you could
Netflix
have
got that money,
probably.
bro. Netflix got that money.
I guess I don't know. I feel like they could have gotten a good performance out of other people that weren't as big. And I'm not saying again, I'm not trying to discredit anybody, but she just seemed like she was underused for her status.
True. All
So
right.
that's my meh. What about you?
My meh is the jokes. Just like, Dustin said. Like some of them hit and I like laughed pretty hard, and then other ones were just like, really? Like, so I mean it was kind of hit or miss with the jokes there, so that's kind of my meh. And then for my bad, I just thought like you want to talk about underutilizing an actress. What about fucking Zoe, man? They brought her on for 2 scenes and then fucking kill her off. I was like, that fucking sucks, man. So I thought that was quite shit. I mean, they could have fucking written it so that she could have went along with him and just been a part of that whole end of the movie. Like, I couldn't watching that whole movie, the ending of it, I don't see why she couldn't have been in it. Like that whole like ending scene, like what you know what I mean? Because technically they both would have just disappeared. They both knew what was going to happen, right? So they could have just had her along there as an extra badass, doing badass stuff alongside Ryan Reynolds. So that
Yeah.
is that is the bad for me. So what about you, John?
Dustin touched this earlier, and I couldn't agree more. The way they de-aged Sorian was just dog shit.
It was no Luke Skywalker, I'll tell you that
Dog
much.
shit. It was Luke Skywalker at the end of Mandalorian season 2.
No, even that looked better, man. That did not look bad.
I mean, it didn't look bad, but it didn't look as good as it did in Boba Fett. But that said, I I just it immediately took me out seeing her. It
I
like
guess.
you look at her and you can see that it's like she's almost got like a cloud or like a brush stroke over her face that's
Just
like
the just the
almost.
green screen in the background was just trash. Like it looks like if I was to put a green screen on right now for Discord, it would like yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it
her
would look
face
like
looked like
that,
Dustin's background.
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. No, I totally get that.
Yep.
But yeah. So, with that being said, did you guys like it? We'll go with Dustin first. Overall, did you like the movie? Did you hate it?
Overall, I did enjoy it. Like I thought there was enough comedy and some cool action scenes to where it's like I enjoyed that part. Like the meh was in the bad wasn't so bad that I wouldn't consider watching it again, you know?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. What about you, John?
I agree. I don't think it's a movie that I would necessarily go out of my way to watch again. But if someone was to say, "Hey, I want to check this movie out," I'd just say, "Yeah, go, let's go check it out. Why not?" It's an enjoyable film that has some stuff that takes you out.
That's fair. That's fair. Um, besides the beginning, it took me a long time to get through the beginning of the movie because I was like, I kept getting up and like, oh, I'm so bored. So I kept doing other things at the beginning of the movie, and I was just like, oh, this fucking movie sucks. And then the action started, and I was like, okay, this isn't so bad, right? So I mean, I did enjoy the majority of the movie. So, uh, so yeah, but yeah, just that first part kind of took me out of it a lot. So like, I don't know if I would really. I mean, it's a Ryan Reynolds movie, so you gotta recommend it to people. But I
Yeah.
mean, overall, I thought it was okay. I don't know if I would watch it again, to be honest. But but yeah. So with that being said, what's your highlight scene, John?
My highlight for the movie was the first time when Big Adam realizes that they're being attacked or about to be assaulted, and he's just like boom, ready for them at all turns. Like he threw that little pulse grenade before the door even opened up. He was like super tactful about it. Like he was capably like just ready to defend himself at every turn. Was bumping like the moment dude was ready to show up from behind him at the glass, he busted the glass out with him. Like it was a cool scene to see him really utilize that whole training aspect of being a pilot, where obviously you're not just a pilot, you got to learn how to do defense and defend yourself, and it was really well displayed there in that scene, I think.
Okay. Okay.
And what about your letdown?
Okay. So I hate to be repeating myself again, but just the beginning of the movie, the beginning of the fucking movie, it was just like I just could not get into it. Like the whole like yeah, I don't know. I was just really bored. I mean, like that. So not like the initial beginning of the movie, because like the flying through space was like whatever, and then the kid running through the hallways, that was okay. But it was like after that point, I was just like, oh my god, when am I gonna see the lightsaber? You know what I mean? So for me, it's the scene basically right after the getting bullied at school. The whole thing, his mom going into the office and screaming and stuff. I was just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, you know.
Okay. Okay.
So
So, Dustin, you can either do a highlight, a letdown, or both.
My highlight up until like he went and actually rescued them with the car and stuff.
yeah,
Up until then, I was like, I don't like this guy. Like he's a jerk. Like how could you like talk to your own kids that way?
right?
Like he
Yeah,
just,
I was thinking the same thing. Oh.
I just felt like he was really harsh. Like wouldn't listen to a word they said type of deal. It's like shut up and listen for 5 seconds, dude.
And Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds even said that at one point
Yeah.
too, right? And I was like, yo, he is not wrong. Like, so yeah, no,
What a
I
douche.
totally agree with that. Totally, totally. So
What a douche. I think we need to discuss what's coming next.
all right, so next week we are gonna watch Red Notice.
It's a fun
Yep.
movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I mean, for me, mehly liking this movie. I want to watch a good Ryan Reynolds movie. So yeah, let's go with that. And you got Deadpool, you got Black Adam, you got Wonder Woman. You know, I'm
I
pretty
can
sure
hear a
there's a couple.
trifecta.
There's somebody else in there too that I can't remember right now. But yeah, I think we're gonna So Red Notice.
So, Red Notice is next week. That's cool. And our shout outs, we have to do some shout outs or a shout out to, of course, Dynamic Duel, the podcast that started it for me. And I don't know, I'm guessing it started it for you, the spark to desire and the spark of desire to make a podcast.
Yeah, for the most part. Check them out anywhere you listen to podcasts. They're on everything. Go to their website, dynamicduel.com. That, like we said earlier in the show, it's where Dustin's from. It's where both of us, all three of us, met each other. We're all executive producers on the pod.
Yep.
And it's a good time. Great Discord chats and everything.
Yep.
Even though everybody hates Dustin.
Yep.
He gets a lot of hate. I mean, I'm Marvel, Zach's DC, and Unfortunately, Dustin's got this constant question mark floating over his head because no one really knows where he belongs except for, of course, me, and that's because I know that he belongs to Marvel.
He's a
No, I think
he's,
I just get kicked out.
he's a
Got a
he's
Marvel.
a he's a rogue. He just kind of goes with the flow.
Yes.
Damn
I
it!
think it's more I stab people in the back with my opinions, and nobody wants me anymore.
You're eviscerating words.
Yeah, I can't even remember what the cause of the last change was, but
You
Can't
you
even
were the
remember.
cause of the last change. You
No, that
no,
that
that had nothing to do with it.
that started it, and then I finished it off like the next day with something else. I can't even
Oh,
remember.
it was a 2-day long endeavor.
Yeah, it was a 2-day long endeavor.
You
Well, it
really
was like
worked
he
for it.
pushed the limits the day before, and then the next day he was just like, I'm gonna just go over the line here.
Yeah,
He went over the line so hard that Johnny went to the executive producer chat and was like, "I really think that we should have tenants for or rules for the tenants of DC, and whenever they break them, blah 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 blah." He was clearly talking about you.
I'm a troll.
It's okay. We accept you as a troll over here in the red brand.
Thank you.
So, Zach, and a little shameless self plug for us and our social medias. You can find us on Instagram at MNWTB Podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at MNWT Boys, and you can also check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/movie nights with the boys !
And you can listen to us on almost all of the major podcast platforms. We haven't found our way to Apple Podcasts yet, but we are working on it. And with that being said, Zach, Dustin, it's been real.
Don't forget to like and comment on the videos. And it's definitely been real. We appreciate you coming out, Dustin.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I'm sure we'll have you back, right? Good
Mhm.
old quick movie chat.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And so yeah, it's been real. Deuces. Movie night with the jalapenos. Bro, I'm a nice spicy jalapeno, you know what I'm saying?